All right, you're live.
All right, I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the service delivery meeting. Today is right now it's 1:03 p.m. Here, Dietrich Leggett, and I would like to have our items on our agenda today as we move forward. We have our proposed board agenda and our consent items by committee. Excuse me.
Good evening, Director Leggett, and to the CAT directors, each of you that are on the call. We have in our proposed board agenda these particular items: the hurricane plan, the drug and alcohol policy, and also the disposable vehicle asset. These are included in the packet that you have. The hurricane plan is being presented so that you can begin to review those. And if there are any items or concerns that you have we hope that you would let us know this now. As we're preparing to plan, our hurricane season officially starts June 1st through November 30th of this year. And so there are no major changes in the plan. There will be some personnel changes, perhaps individuals that are in place now that was not in place a year ago. But those changes will be updated in the plan and should be available for you in the governance meeting as before the board meeting that's scheduled to take place at the end of the month. The same thing would occur with the drug and alcohol policy. For your review, there's some information to look at as far as changes, again, with personnel. The policy itself has not changed, but we have staffing that we need to update on those policies. And the disposable vehicle assets, we have a copy of that, which vehicles we have. We have several of our hybrid vehicles that have on the fixed route side that have gone beyond the miles and the years of service. And so we're requesting permission to begin disposal of those vehicles as well as one paratransit vehicle. Yeah, do any of you have any questions on those particular items?
I think the question that would come up over and over is, and I think it was answered the last time, that the buses that we take out of service, all of these items are going to be staggered as they leave our facility, right?
That's correct. So when we present them to be disposed of, they've met that useful life. And so we need the approval to begin the process, particularly with these hybrid. They're a little different than your regular diesel bus. So just taking them out of order to have batteries, other things that we have to factor in.
So when we get to the point when we are getting rid of majority of our fleet, are we going to hold back a couple of our gas powered for emergency purposes, just in case it was some foreseen reason that we couldn't get the buses out and about?
For the diesel buses, that's correct. We're not changing all those out immediately. That's going to take a longer period of time to do that. These are just some of the diesel buses are hybrid, so they ran on dual process, and they were ordered several years ago. They're just gone beyond their useful life at this point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Director Lockett.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question about the hybrids. Are we saying pretty much they're not practical, or are they practical?
The hybrid.
Without getting rid of them.
Well, they've gone beyond the useful life. So we're at a point where they have to come out of service because of the age and the mileage, and so we have to get approval to move forward with that process.
Right,
but Director Lockett, I don't think that we're saying that they're not an important part of our overall fleet, or that hybrids haven't been necessarily a successful experience. It's just it's just like your own personal vehicle. When it gets too old and it's got too many issues or whatever, and you decide to get a new vehicle, it's that kind of a thought process rather than anything having to do with the particular value of the type of power of the vehicle. I think we still consider hybrid vehicles to be a valuable part of our fleet.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yes, sir.
And I am an automobile person, so I'm very much familiar with it.
Absolutely.
Thank
It's
you.
one thing I would mention here too, just as sort of a sneak peek to the future, I think, is that, hydrogen is also a zero emission alternative fuel source that's under consideration and is getting a lot of, I think, play at the national level. I just recently attended an APTA meeting and was able to speak to some colleagues who have those in their fleet as well. And so I know we're looking at electric, and we're excited about our electric fleet rollout on Earth Day. We've got hybrids in our mix, and we've got diesel. We certainly have a lot of environmental consciousness in how we're doing what we're doing. And I think exploring what hydrogen might add to that is also going to be a part of what you're hearing from us over the coming months and so forth.
Thank you, Ms. DeMassimo, for assisting with that as well. If we're okay, we'll move on into our reports for the committee. And we have a PowerPoint presentation that we'd like to present this time. Ms. Dion, if you would, okay, there we are. All right, so we just want to go over our service delivery. And so one of the changes that we're making in the beginning, so you notice, we're going to begin to report the first 15 days of each month, starting this month. So some of the comparison for the month of March, you'll see compared to the whole month of February, but going forth, it will be the first 15th day of each month. And then you will get the complete report during the regular board meeting. Next slide. So our safety and training operation, we indicate here accidents, and for our fixed route, we have had one accident, which was a side swipe. And for the paratransit, we had one accident as a backing occurrence. And all other modes, we did not have any other incident or accident that happened. Our action plans, of course, to correct those trends is, of course, to continue coaching and meeting and retraining as needed. Our monthly safety blitz for the month of March was focused on making sure operators were aware, current in the DOT medical cards, as well as the safety awareness campaign, conflict and aggression management, de-escalation. Now, monthly safety meeting was focused on the electric clever device and queue strengths that we're going through with all our vehicles, particularly the electric vehicles, but all of the buses that are now been installed with the new clever device system. Next slide. Continue with our safety and training operation. We had new hire classes that we had. In the month of March, for paratransit, we brought in 3 new employees. 2 of those were returning to rehire who worked for us previously. One of those individuals we hired also has a dual license. He has a CDL license as well. He's, I think, coming back as part-time, but he may eventually decide to get into the fixed route service as well because he already has those credentials. And then on the 18th of this month, we will begin a new fixed route class, which we hope to have at least 5 candidates that will be begin to start on the 18th of this month. In addition to that, we do plan to start another paratransit class a week later, April 25th. We hope to have at least 6 more candidates to add to the paratransit number as well. Next slide. Our safety training continue. We're fixed route. We had 11 trainees on accidents reporting and de-escalation. And for the maintenance, we had training with the clever device. We had 24 trainees with clever device, computer, added dispatch, CDL, and client technician training preparing for the new Clever installation on all of our buses. We've also had 13 dispatchers and supervisors training as part of that Clever device training as well. And we will continue to have training. We're scheduled to have the battery and electric bus training starting the 18th through the 22nd of April. So this is ongoing training with Clever and our electric vehicles. Retraining, we had one person retrain safety on a paratransit. Next slide.
Mr. Dumas, before you move to the next slide, there's one thing I wanted to mention on that one related to the electric vehicles that I hope the directors who are on in this committee and on this call noticed this morning is we were very pleased to have the partnership of the ATL, some of their senior staff who came in here and spent the day with us yesterday and through this morning. And with an evaluation, they have a good bit of experience already when electric vehicles and a lot of expertise in that area. And they brought that down as well to do a really comprehensive review of what we've done and how we've done it. And where, what our opportunities are. And I'm very pleased to report that, the good news was that we've done a lot of things very well, and we are poised to be quite successful. And that was their conclusion. They also had some really interesting observations for us based upon their depth of experience that will only help make us better, not only on electric buses, but we did some really interesting sort of sharing with around safety and safety practices, especially in sort of the world that we live in today, and the recent experience with a Greyhound bus. I think that was a few weeks ago. I'm trying to remember what city that was in, but a Greyhound bus that was actually overtaken by a bad actor, and the notion of how can we best prepare for those kinds of situations. So I had a really great conversation with them this morning, and I want you to feel proud both of how successfully we're poised, but also be very proud too of the kind of preparation that we're doing, in-depth preparation to think about how we're moving forward with these alternative fuels, how we are moving forward with best safety practice and so forth. The team's doing a great job, and I wanted to be sure you heard that.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So I want to just take a moment to talk about key performance indicator, just to kind of bring all of us up to speed. I know there's been some concern about looking at our performance indicator, where they are, how do we get there? Do we need to change those? Well, one of the best ways to ensure organization is consistently improving is to track the key performance indicators, or KPIs. And KPIs are a set of quantifiable measures that an organization use to gauge its performance and determine if it is meeting its strategic and operational goals. Chatham Area Transit is very much focused on using KPIs to help us know whether we're moving towards attaining our goals, and if not, where to focus our attention. So staff and board understand that we are currently using historical performance metrics and methodologies. Therefore, in concert with future studies proposed by leadership, staff will be recommending that our current KPI model be assessed and updated so we are able to make data-driven decisions that better serve our customers. And so with that, as we're getting that information, we hope to have a tentative rollout date. And 3 months after that plan, 3 months after that plan is completed. Next slide. So with that being said, we want to talk about our fixed route operation and talk our on-time performance. Again, we continue to give you the entire month of February compared to only the first 15 days of March. And you can see that the on-time performance is still about the same. We added to this our top 5 time points in early departure, but we added more than 5. I think we added 10 of each of those categories. Well, 5 in the AM, 5 in the PM. So we spread that out differently. And we just give you some of the location. Now, what's unique about this is that Ms. Wendy Arden is using the Clever device software that we just recently installed. in order to pull this information. So it's going to be fairly easy for us to be able to watch this and report this information on board reports going forward. And so I won't go out to read all of them individually, but they're in your report and showing that the departure time and the arrival time. Now, we like to focus that a bus can leave late and have an excuse, but leaving early, we have no excuse for that. So we really put emphasis on the operators to make sure that the departure time, they don't leave early, they leave at least on time or later. Our ridership, again, this is the whole month of February compared to March, and you can see the difference there. We're almost on the same point, about halfway in, and so it looks like we will be slightly improvement with March. And things to note that we have a few more days in the month of March than we do February, so that's expected that our ridership should be higher for the month. We've included some missed trip times for February and March, and there's a reduction there that you can see that March is looking better. Still not where we want to be, but we're moving in the right direction. We did onboard evaluations. We did 15 trail checks, 2 onboard evaluation, operators coaching. You had 3 of those for the month, and then supervisory training. We have not had any yet, but we will be adding that. In fact, we will be going through a campaign starting this month or 1st of May, where we're doing extensive training with our supervisors on board. Our paratransit on-time performance, it is comparison the end of complete month versus the first 15 days, but the on-time performance is slightly improved for the month of March. We expect that to continue as we are bringing on full staff, working towards getting full staff. So we're hiring, and as we hire all new individuals for paratransit, it only improves in the quality of service that our customers are expecting and hope to get. Our ridership for the month is at this point, again, expected to be slightly higher than it was in February. At this point in March, we were above halfway beyond what we did a month ago. And we also listed missed trips on that. And those trips, again, you can see the comparison that they're down or more than 50%. Right at that, and it's because of, again, we've added staff. And the more we continue to add, those numbers should continue to go in our favor of showing that the missed trips are being reduced, hopefully eliminated altogether. Next slide. On our onboard evaluation, again, that we've shown that we had 2 of those operator coaching, and as well as 4 supervisors training for paratransit. So we're started already with the paratransit, but we will also include them in the changes that we're going to do beginning in May with additional training for all staff, for all supervisors. Unscheduled trips, just to give you an explanation on that, when we do that, our plan of action, of course, is to schedule full capacity on the buses, which we've done, and that has helped greatly. And we've seen that we have a 40% reduction of unscheduled trips. So when we were very high, we're now curtailing down in the right direction. And that's only going to improve as we continue to hire more people. And finally, on that, our CRC supplementary paratransit service, we showed that in the first week of March, we had 119. The second week, we had 135 individuals that we transported, trips that we took. And then the third week was 103. So the total trip summary shows that a total trip of 357 and total actual trips taken was 247, 357 scheduled and 247 actual trips. Next slide. Ridership for our marine service, we show that our ridership is on point for the month of March. We expect it to be higher than it was in February as well. The vessel update to let you know that the Juliet Gordon Low operational is paint and engine overhaul is taking place with that particular vehicle. The Florence Modest, it's in good condition. No needed repairs are needed on that vessel right now. the Mary Musgrove is need of paint, and we'll be able to take care of that fairly easy. And then Susan King Taylor has a paint and engine overhaul as well that's scheduled. And okay, so the dock, I wanted to mention about that. So on the dock repair, particularly on the Waving Girl, we just recently got some quotes in on the cost to do that service. And once that's approved, the repair time is expected to take place fairly quickly. And that should shore us up that we should not have any problem with any of the docks that we have.
Dumas, I'm sorry. Once again, I was just going to jump in really quickly before. I know you're still talking marine operations, but one of the things that I wanted to make the committee aware of is that we are also working with Sammy and Mr. Dumas, Ms. Cutter, Mr. Allen, I was trying to think who else from our team, Ms. Goodrich from our planning staff. We are working with them to have a different kind of collaborative conversation rather than CAT being in just a sort of a reporting posture to that organization. We are actually hosting the next meeting of that group, and it's a workshop format, and we're going to be talking about the opportunities, the necessity of collaboration and partnerships in order for us all to move marine services and marine operations to the level that we all desire for it to be. So we'll keep you posted on the outcomes for that meeting, but I'm very hopeful for the way we're structuring that to have conversations around funding and partnerships and those kinds of things that are really going to see us to a successful future. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Thank you. Next slide, please, Dion. So maintenance operation means distance between vehicles failure for fixed route is 20,731, and for paratransit 50,660. Both of them are above the target, so we're doing very good. Maintenance is doing an excellent job in keeping things up and running for us. Our roll calls to date was for fixed route was 4, and for paratransit was 0, and vehicles out of service 10 for fixed route and 4 for paratransit. A PMI compliance is 100%, so they're on target. They're making sure that those buses are being serviced accordingly. And as far as major repair, we have vehicle 907, engine replacement for fixed route. Next slide. That brings us to a conclusion of my presentation. Are there any questions on what's been presented so far?
Sorry, I'm going to chime in with one other quick thing before we get to questions. The slide that around maintenance, I wanted to let you know that Ms. Dale is also has assumed some leadership responsibilities around asset management, a much needed activity that works hand in hand with maintenance. But a critically needed activity. And as a part of some of her initial reviews and so forth of asset management, but a situation that I know that we've all been aware of over the course of time is some of the needs and matters related to the maintenance facility for marine operations. And she identified some issues there that I wanted to be sure and mention that not only did we identify them, but they were addressed today. We had a management team meeting about those this morning, and the addressing of some of those kinds of really urgent matters there are being taken care of today. We still are looking forward to the marine maintenance facility that our grant funding will enable us to accomplish. But in the meantime, we've made sure that our existing maintenance operations for marine services in particular has been looked at with a strong safety eye and those matters addressed. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so any questions from any of the board members regarding our presentation? Okay, if not, that concludes the information I have now.
I think Mr. Leggett was trying to talk, Mr. Dumas, but I think he was muted.
Okay.
No, I was just saying a thank you to Mr. Dumas. It was a pretty thorough presentation, and I appreciate it. all the questions that it had was already answered by your presentation itself.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll turn it back over to you at this time, Director Leggett, on old or new business.
Okay, at this time, with old new business, we have Director's Digest. Any questions and answers to our digest? We'll do a question and answer right now. Anything, Ms. DeMassimo?
I don't have anything else at this time, sir.
Okay, any other committee business that we want to move forward to in our 5th item? I think we touched on that, right? Emergency procurement, our contract awards, audit compliance committee, temp admin, interim pay policy. So we went over all our policies and things, right? We touched everything.
We did. Those will be coming up. That's just to give you the under other committee business, Director.
Okay.
That's to give you the insight into those matters that will be coming up in other committees. In the event that you did have questions that you wanted to either join
Right.
those committee meetings or ask them of us.
Okay, well, if we don't have anything else, just as a little dialogue, I just wanted to make sure that we take some time out today to pray for our partners in New York. Our transit partners went through ordeal with someone fired a weapon in the subway system. So make sure out of 16, 10 people were injured. So make sure you keep them in your prayer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank
There's
you,
not
Director.
any, if it isn't anything else, I adjourn this meeting at 1:29.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
ma'am. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.